The following podcast may contain adult language and an abundance of chat. So get ready, nerds, because we're talking Season 3 finale. I see you. Welcome, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us on this episode of the Salty Nerd Podcast, when we cover our favorite TV show ever made, Apple TV's See. The series finale, Season 3, is done. This is the last one we're ever going to get from this show, and I am both happy and glad that we've got to experience this, and also very sad that it's never going to happen again.
This is the show that built a podcast.
I'm so bummed right now. I'm joined, as always, by my fantastic panel of nerds. Matt Vader stroking his beard. What else are you stroking over there, bud?
I'm trying to smell the poop.
Is that a new scent? The new scent from the beard wax?
Ranger shit. In my beard. Yeah, no. Am I sad? You guys, I feel like you guys are all...
Don't offend me right now.
You guys are all... Wah.
I am a little wah-wah.
And I'm like... Huh.
You're such a dick sometimes.
I'm kind of a dick sometimes. Yeah, it's like...
When are you not a dick?
I was really looking forward to more satellite dishes.
Not enough satellite dishes.
We didn't see it. It's gone.
I was kind of bummed it didn't make an appearance in the last
episode. Okay, I have to tell you this real quick before I forget. But the art director who was responsible for the satellite dish has said that in his Instagram post recently, he named the ship. He had a photo of that ship, and he's called it the SS DirecTV in honor of us.
Oh, I love it.
Very nice. Very nice.
He owned it. And Judah's also here. Welcome.
Hello.
How you doing?
I'm good. I have mixed emotions.
Yes.
I'm so sad that this is the last time we're going to review this show.
Yeah.
And also fitting end, and it just feels kind of cathartic. You know,
okay.
this show, we started our podcast with this show, and we're going to keep going, and the show isn't anymore. It doesn't seem right.
But we've made lifelong friends along the way.
They have opened up some windows for us.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Somebody in our comments just said, movie finale 2 years later for unanswered questions. And I love that.
All right, Kadish. Welcome, sir. How you doing?
Good to be here. I have mixed emotions too, because it's sad that this is over. I feel like this show could have gotten at least 2 more seasons to kind of expand the world, show us different aspects of it. They kind of hinted at it at the end of this episode that there's a much broader world here that other stories could have sprung from. But I understand the problems with the COVID restrictions and Jason Momoa's schedule and stuff like that. It was a very difficult production. So
the Ganites fucking things up.
Yeah. So I'm sure that Tropper was just wanting to put this one to bed and move on to greener pastures. But I gotta tell you, it's funny because this season, the last season, reached season 1 levels of bad. And it was just kind of funny to see the trajectory, because it was season 1 was down here, season 2 was up here, and then phew, right back down.
Went off the cliff.
Burn it down.
It was you could tell everyone was checked out on this season. They were Apple gave us a bunch of money. We just need to spend it.
We're going to have some fun. We're going to goof around.
Yeah, but I felt like it was a decent enough finale. I kind of wish that certain things had been handled a little bit better. But overall, it's a fine end to a fun show, and I'm going to miss ripping it apart.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, this is one of the highlights of my week, for sure, is sitting down talking about this goofy-ass show.
I don't get checked out on this season at all, but I do get fucking.
Yeah. There's some real fucking vibes.
There's a difference.
Yeah, for sure. All right, guys, we are going to cover this episode and spoil the crap out of it. So if you haven't watched it, head over to Apple TV if you have that, and watch the finale before you come back. Watch this episode.
Or if you're like most people, go to the beginning of season 1.
Yes.
And watch the series.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's so many people have no idea what the show is.
So many people.
Yeah, you can now binge the entire series.
I see people on Jason Momoa's Instagram page be like, "What's this show you're on?"
I know.
I'm like, "Where have you been?"
Yeah. And there are several CTV show Facebook groups too. So if you're on Facebook, join those groups, because the fans on there are just so rabid for this show.
Rabbit
for the show. Like they ravenously
Okay.
devour the show. Wait, you know what I mean. I make up words and I make no apologies. Like the fans on there love this show so much, and there are just constantly people going back and forth and being like asking questions and giving their theories. It's a lot of fun.
I think Apple TV in general just does an abysmal job
At promoting its own stuff.
their own content.
For real.
Yeah.
And this show, I have no doubt in my mind that in 10 years from now, this show will have a cult following to it.
I do have one bone to pick with the Facebook groups is that somebody posted something about the last episode and one of the last scenes.
Oh, yeah, you
in
got
the
it spoiled
episode.
for you.
And I was just like, because every time I see an alert, I open it up and look at like what my alert is. And the first thing I saw was a spoiler before I got to watch this. And I was so angry.
Rookie move, Jude.
I replied. I was like, thanks for posting this before I saw the episode. And I was like, put all of the angry emojis.
Here's the thing. If there is a show that you like in this day and age,
stay off social media.
That you really
Facts, I know.
want to not be spoiled, you just have to watch it the moment it's released or stay the fuck off your phone.
I know.
Rookie move, Jude.
So
I know. I kept forgetting and I kept picking up my phone and being like, oh, open that. God damn it.
It was kind of my fault because she wanted to watch it earlier the day.
did.
And I was like, I got stuff I got to do. Let's just watch it tonight.
I waited for my man.
All right.
Like a dumb
watched it.
bitch.
I watched it the moment it dropped. I was like one of the
I
first
should
10
have come
people
over
to
to your
watch
house.
Yeah. I download it the night that it opens. I download it and I watch it. All right. Anyway, so
Yeah, let's get into it.
let's get into it. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back. We're going to dive into this episode. So stay tuned. Welcome back, everybody. Hey, if you guys want to support what we do here at the podcast, you can go to saltynerdclub.com and there become a club member. You guys get access to 4 to 5 exclusive podcasts every single month where we talk about classic sci-fi TV shows like Buck Rogers in the 25th Century, Doctor Who, Stargate Atlantis, Battlestar Galactica, and all kinds of really fun stuff. I cannot wait to have you over there in the club members area. We have a ton of fun with those guys, especially on our Discord app. We have special access for our club members there. We have so much fun talking about classic sci-fi. We would love to have you there. So don't forget, sign up. It's only $5 a month. That's a huge value. It's basically $1 per episode you guys are getting. And it helps us go a long way for supporting the podcast, getting new equipment, and producing more and more better content for you to enjoy. So head over to saltynerdclub.com and sign up to become a club member. We can't wait to see you there. All right. C, the season finale, the series finale. Jude. Take it away. Oh, it's Kadish. Oh shit, my bad. Kadish.
It was a collaborative effort though.
Take it away.
I wanted to be the one to give us the send out. And before I get going, I want to give a shout out to the writers of the series. Last episode, in the penultimate episode.
Drink. Yep. Cheers.
It was revealed that there were these underground tunnels that Harlan was using for smuggling. And when we were watching that episode, we were like, what the hell is going on here? And it's kind of funny because in this episode, we see like the destruction of Old Main. We see the destruction of Nittany Lion because Penn is basically Penn State.
Yeah.
And I was like starting to suspect that the writers were Michigan fans, secret Michigan fans. So I went to Penn State. I lived at University Park for a number of years while I was going to school there. And one of the interesting things that I learned recently is that there are a series of underground concrete tunnels under Penn State. They're called steam tunnels. Basically, they're maintenance tunnels for like the heating of the campus, and they connect a number of the buildings. And they also, during the Cold War era of like the 1950s Cuban Missile Crisis and stuff like that, the university actually built fallout shelters that connected to these tunnels underground.
What?
And since then they have sealed them off. There are a lot of urban explorers that kind of like break in there and like, explore the tunnels. But the university itself tries to like keep people out of them.
They go all the way to Altoona?
I don't know where they go, but they do lead to like, they said as far as Beaver Stadium, which is quite far away from the campus and stuff like that. So it's very obvious that the writers of this show did some research and figured it out.
I retract my statement from last week.
Cheers to the dick tunnels.
Dick tunnels!
It's too late. They didn't go anywhere. Too bad they didn't go anywhere.
Yeah.
They stopped halfway and turned around.
Yeah, they kind of dropped the ball on that, which we'll get to in a minute. But I just wanted to acknowledge the writers for their extensive research and making sure that, like, I don't know if like, you know, they had submarine hatches leading to these tunnels, but, you know, I want to give them props for, you know, finding out, because this was kind of like an urban myth, like around campus, but like, you know, I never really paid much attention to it. But some writer out there found out, oh, there are these steam tunnels that, you know, go all over, you know, the place. And so we're going to work them into the show. So I wanted to give
I bet that writer went to Penn State too.
might have been. Tropper sets all of his stuff in Pennsylvania though. So like, you never know. And Jonathan Tropper did write this episode.
Okay.
So,
all right.
Yeah. So he has the credit for it. All right, guys, let's talk about the final episode of C.
Take it away, sir.
In the massive concrete tunnels supposedly beneath war-torn Pensa, the entire town is at a standstill while the family discusses what to do about Boba Voss abandoning them to literally fight the T-Kane army all by himself. Tamakta June warns them to keep moving before Sybeth starts firing bombs again. Apparently, they have the entire population of Pensa with them and have been traveling for a long time and are nowhere near the end of the tunnel yet. Remember this fact because it will be important later. When Kofun objects about abandoning their father, Tamakta June is like, nah, he'll be fine. And everyone who has watched the previous seasons knows Boba Voss against an entire army is usually a pretty fair fight. Meanwhile, two Trevantian guards are having a nice conversation about sharing a lunch when Baba and Poopbeard viciously murder them and go looking for Sybeth. Guess that pilot for Rosencrantz and Guildenstern's spinoff is pretty short-lived.
This poor bastard. He's like, would you like an apple? No, I'm good, man. Thanks. All right, well, more for me then. And then just freaking right through the gullet, out the other end, shish kebab that poor bastard. Amazing.
But when we saw that scene, I was like, yes, this is what I've been wanting to see all season. I just want to see like the daily lives of the guards. And they're like, they end their story by getting murdered. It's perfect.
It's amazing.
I could see 100 shorts of that.
Yes, absolutely. Just
And
cards.
I would be surprised every time. I'd be like, oh shit, I just got murdered 100 times in a
Just
row.
the two of them standing there, be like, do you hear something? Boba Voss in the background. Like, do you hear something?
Yeah, he's like, nah, it's fine.
Nah, it's
good,
fine.
man.
Don't worry about it.
Like loud whispering,
Yeah.
I'm gonna kill this guy. Okay, cool.
Well, guard's like, hold on, is he choking her? Nah, no.
That's not what choking sounds like. Where have you been?
That sounded like someone getting stabbed in the throat. You're crazy, man.
I also like how like Magra and her crew stopped the entire procession and be like, wait a minute, where's Baba? We need to figure out what's going on
Yeah,
here.
the whole city, like 800
Why are
people.
you stopping the whole city? The whole city is not invested in Boba Voss.
Yeah, and apparently there was like a time factor here where like they should have just kept walking as much as possible.
They needed to go faster.
Yeah, what's weird is like later on in the episode, it's like, wait a minute, did they like just go back underneath the city that's being bombed?
It's like so Baba leaves, right?
Yeah.
And he has enough time to go up to the top and crawl through the tunnels, smoke a blunt with Ranger, plan their attack phase,
Play and poop a
sneak
little bit.
all the way across the football field to where the army is.
1,000 heartbeats away.
Yeah, 1,000 heartbeats away. But during this whole entire time,
They only walk like
they
10 feet.
walk 12 feet.
Yeah.
through
Because you're only as fast as your
Well,
slowest.
As you can see, they're just casually taking a stroll. They're not really in a hurry. They're not like, let's escape before the bombs go off. They're
Dude,
like,
those bombs were hitting the exact same fucking places that they hit in the last episode.
no, it doesn't matter.
It does matter.
Burn it down.
It does
No,
matter.
they were 10 degrees different, Vader.
10 degrees. Go 10 degrees to the left. It's like, come on, man.
How do blind people know what 10 degrees is?
The fuck you
They got
talking
the
about?
maps.
It clicks.
They got the maps. They have the string on the map, which happened in the last
but
episode.
he was
Yeah.
through the drums, you know. So telling him what to do.
Did we get the Ayura who's like
Not
touching?
yet, not yet.
Okay,
Oh,
well,
no.
God, I got a lot to say about that.
Get to her.
We're gonna fucking get to her.
So glad, because we've been giving him massive shit this year. It's like, where's the magic Ayura's at? And go ahead.
Here we
Matt.
go.
Go ahead.
Take it away.
Tormada and Sybeth have just finished praying together and discussed big dick energy versus big brain energy.
yes.
Dr. Rodney Tormada laughs about how limited Ito's brain was on top of that giant body and congratulates himself on thinking bigger as we finally get some of his backstory in the very last episode of the series. Tormada then asks how much longer they have to wait to hear from Mahgra before they should assume that she's up to something. And Sybeth is like, Mahgra decides nothing quickly, but tells Tormada to get the bombs ready just in case Mahgra is up to something, which we know she obviously is. Meanwhile, Mahgra is having some major FOMO about Boba running off to kill her sister while she's stuck trying to save all the lives of her stupid subjects. She's outraged at the injustice of having to sacrifice her husband in order to be queen to her people, even though she just lost her other husband 2 episodes ago and barely gave 2 shits about it. Tamakta June tells her to stop being a hysterical woman and save her people before running off to try and save her invincible badass husband. Then we stop our regularly scheduled program for a musical number, with C giving us a sweet a cappella version of Carly Simon's Let the River Run from the soundtrack of the seminal 1989 film Working Girl, starring Sigourney Weaver, Melanie Griffith, Harrison Ford, and Kevin Spacey. After all, nothing says "Yes, Queen" like a girl power anthem from the 80s.
Did I block that out?
I don't remember that.
Yeah,
when
they
did this happen?
They were singing in the tunnels.
Oh, that's right.
That was really weird.
It was really weird.
It's like, oh, we're singing now.
Yeah.
When did we start doing this?
Like, do you think the
That's
Ayuras
exactly
can
what I
hear
thought.
that?
You
Maybe
know
that
what?
would.
It's the last episode of the whole series. You know what we haven't done yet? A musical
musical.
I
episode.
remember. I did. I blocked that out.
I did too.
I go, that was really stupid. and
I was like,
I didn't care.
Can they not hear this? There's like special magical people who can hear everything.
Well, we're going to get there.
Well, also, how did the entire population of Penson know a
Know the
Carly
same
Simon song from 1989?
It's a lullaby.
It was only 585 years
Sung
ago.
it to their children for 500 years.
There were several songs this year that they probably
Welcome to the jungle.
Yeah.
wouldn't know from 500 years prior.
They had a tape
They had
of
a
Welcome
they had
to
a
the
cassette
Jungle.
tape and a boombox.
Don't get me started. Don't get me started.
Like in the very first episode of this series, like we see Sybeth listening to like an old vinyl record,
Right, yeah.
Of
I can see that.
yeah, and so like I can imagine that there are like there are ways in which songs survive 500 years and will pass through, but like I don't know, that's so specific because that was like on the soundtrack for Working Girl. You know, like how did that survive? You know, who preserved that? That's what I don't know.
You know, they should all be out there
I
singing
totally
like
forgot
Tom
about
Petty
that.
and stuff.
I totally forgot about
I
that.
won't
That was
back
weird.
down. Stand my ground.
Yeah, I think the song in the first episode was a Tom Waits song because I know when we talked to Sylvia Hooks, she said that she based a lot of Queen Cane off of like
Yeah, punk.
Drunken Hyde, Tom Waits.
Yeah,
you know?
punk rock stuff. Yeah,
Yeah.
I get it. I do. Man, that's crazy. I totally forgot about that scene. But yeah. All right, let's keep going.
If you ever wanted to watch mass murder set to the dulcet tunes of Carly Simon's Let the River Run, then you're in for a treat, as Boba Voss and Poopbeard literally murder every single Trevantian guard in Sybeth's camp, alerting no one to their deadly deeds despite all the sounds of killing they are making. They finally make it to Sybeth's tent, but all they find is a super sweet and fashionable sectional couch, but no Sybeth. Wherever could she be? Turns out Sybeth is hanging out with her boy toy Tormada and the world's greatest Ayura ever. Turns out this Ayura is so good at hearing stuff, she can pick up the footsteps of the Penson civilians under 6 feet of earth and a foot of concrete. But somehow she misses the sounds of all the murdering happening in her own camp. But I guess we need some plot device to give T. Kane a reason to start bombing the city again. So Tormada figures out Magra and her people are in an underground tunnel, and Sybeth orders her men to start bombing Pensa again.
Okay.
Oh boy,
This Ayura.
Yeah.
she was awesome.
Well, she's amazing.
I love her.
Also, the actress who played her reached out to us on Instagram. And
Same
said she-
Ayura?
Yeah, the same. That
That was
actress.
the same Ayura from the first episode.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. From the USS
For real?
DirecTV. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, from season 1.
No. From this season. But the actress
okay.
reached out to us on Instagram and said that she loved our podcast and yada yada. yada.
I mean, she wasn't even touching the ground or nothing. Was
Oh
she?
no, this episode she was.
like,
She was down there. She was like
there's
up in the grass.
47 people.
Not at first though. At first she was like, I hear muffled footsteps.
Yeah.
And at that point, I went,
The song they're all singing. Did you hear that?
yeah, but at that point, well, first she says, I hear nothing from the city. And she lists all the stuff that she's not hearing. And then she's like, but I hear muffled footsteps. And at that point I was like, Tropper, what the hell are you doing? How, like, I can't hear anything outside of a closed door for most of the time.
You're not an Ayura.
You're not a Ayura.
Yeah, but I mean, like the level of super hearing that to hear like
No.
stuff underground, but behind a foot of concrete.
Let me put we got to put something on this. Selective super hearing
Yeah.
because
Yes,
literally
it's directional. She's aiming her Ayura-ness only at Pensa.
10 feet behind her.
Literally 10 feet.
Literally,
Yes.
Boba Voss and Ranger are hacking people apart.
Murdering their way
And they're
through
just
the
like
tents. Yeah.
casually like slicing people's throats and chopping their heads off. But she's focused on foot.
You know what's hilarious is like even when they're hiding underneath the dead bodies, they're like, "Hey, you think they're gone? Yeah, I think they're gone. We really got out of that one, huh?"
No, but when I saw that scene, I was like, "You got to be kidding me!" Like you can't hear shit underground, like especially if it's behind a foot of concrete.
Yeah.
And you're a mile away.
Yeah.
How?
That's fine.
We've been using these tunnels to smuggle for 500 years. Why didn't they just station an Ayura there anyway to avoid smugglers?
V, you're gonna say something?
I'm wondering why Tamakti June, through all his decades of military training and familiarity with Ayuras and everything, wasn't like, "Hey, people singing, shut the fuck up." Because they're super powered magical Ayuras are going to hear you singing. Doesn't matter. They just heard them.
Well, you know why he didn't do
shuffling.
that? It's because you can't hear 6 feet underground behind a foot of concrete. Like it was literally these. Like if they were like directly on top of them, okay, I'd be willing to suspend my disbelief. But like, give me a break. That was like,
I love it.
that was show breaking stupidity right there.
That was
Burn
like
it down.
that was like a reference to Red October. They're like
One ping only, please.
one ping only, please. And I think I hear singing, sir. What are you talking about, Jonesy?
But I kind of feel like Tropper was like, "Oh, you guys wanted season 1 level of stupidity. Here you go. I'm gonna top that. Going out on a high note. Boom."
You know what though?
To Chopper.
Honestly,
To Chopper.
I'm watching this and I felt all those same things, and I was just like,
Didn't
I
care.
don't care.
It's fine.
Let's do it. Let's
go.
bring back the magic chick. Let's go.
I'm glad it was in the episode so that I can go, "What? Crazy, man. Let's get more. I want more."
Give me more of that.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
No, it felt like, how do we have them figure out that the entire city is leaving? It's like, oh, we'll just have someone hear the footsteps.
Yeah, I got it. Magic.
They're singing. Somebody's singing show tunes right now.
Like they were like in the writer's room. They were like, "Well, Ayuras," and they were like, "Ayuras can't hear that. What about a magic Ayura?"
This one can.
Yeah, I love it. I fucking love it. Somebody break that down.
Yeah. Do you remember like the silvered-haired witchfinder Ayura from season 1?
Oh man,
I missed that
was
guy.
dope.
Yeah,
That was dope.
I feel like this Ayura is this season's version of that guy.
Yeah.
You know, like she just comes out of nowhere.
She needed one of those Targaryen mop wigs.
Yeah, she's super important to the story. Like the plot couldn't have progressed without her. But at the same time, she's just like, oh, what murder's happening?
Wasn't Boba Voss and Ranger walking across the field towards the army with having a full-on conversation?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it.
She wouldn't have
don't
heard
worry about
that.
it.
No,
fine.
nobody.
No, because it's behind
Nobody heard
her.
that?
But it's Boba Voss.
It's behind her. She's directing her magic ears forward.
But what's funny is like, if she can hear that well, she could have heard the entire conversation from Old Main where they were coming up with this strategy.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, she could have heard like all the citizens like herding together to go to like the underground tunnel.
Yeah.
You know, like
Boba and Ranger being like, "We're gonna go kill a bitch."
but they waited until they were underground for her to hear their muffled
we
footsteps.
can't get hung up on this. We got to keep going.
I'm sorry. This is the type of thing I obsess over.
Oh, I know, I
because
get
it's
it.
just
She
so
cannot work
stupid.
24 hours a day because of union rules, and she was on her break when that happened.
Okay. Yeah, I like that.
So she went up there and said, "Come on, guys. You can't clearly hear that they're escaping through the underground tunnels."
She
Good
calls
Lord.
Queen Kane a dumb bitch.
She was supposed to be on duty, but she was fucking off. And then when she got back to work, she was like, "Oh shit, they're like 40 feet into that tunnel. Fuck. Hey.
She gets back with a napkin. She's still wiping food off her face. Like, what the fuck's going on? Oh shit.
Yeah, she's got
Yeah.
the rest of that guy's apple.
No, I get it. Yeah.
I found this apple. It's just
It's got
laying
blood
there.
on it. I don't know.
Be funny if she was like hanging out with Rosencrantz and Guildenstern.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So what's been going on? And,
Yeah, what's the hot goss?
Oh,
Spill the
Jesus.
tea.
So the hot goss is that Tormada finally got to peace. You got the finish and everything.
40-year-old virgin.
Yeah, dude, I'm convinced that Tormada was a virgin before.
Yes.
By last episode.
There's nobody that gives hand jobs that good. That's ridiculous.
Rosencrantz took the dick tunnel to the tent. I did this. I don't know why. To the tents, and they're like meeting with the Ayura, and they're like, "Girl, here's the hot glass."
They don't even have to meet with her. They just have to be whispering in Pensa. Be like, "Hey, Magic Ayura. You want to hear something cool?"
They're like listening in a can, a 500-year-old can.
I'm gonna miss this show.
I know.
Like this is up there with the number of water bottles that had to be sent down that river. In season 1.
13,400.
Remember the drum that they made out of the big water bottle?
Yes.
No haka dance either, man. Didn't go out on a haka dance.
No, it's all good. We did get shirtless Momoa though, so that's a plus. We'll get there. Keep on going.
All right, let's move it.
All right. So, despite walking for a really long time already, it seems Magra and her crew haven't actually made it out of the city at all, as the bombs Sybeth is hurling have somehow become bunker busters and are now affecting concrete structures deep underground. As the Pensans are trying to rush down the reinforced concrete tunnel, Sybeth keeps lobbing bombs their way, so Kofun gets the bright idea to stop everyone and just wait for the tunnel to collapse around them. Brilliant idea, Kofun. Thanks for that. The world's greatest Ayura can apparently hear that the Pensans have stopped moving, despite them being underground and tons of bombs going off around them. But hey, she's a super Ayura, so who gives a fuck, right? But it's totally unfortunate that this massive concrete underground tunnel is apparently just a foot beneath the ground because the roof crumbles and falls on top of Kofun. But don't worry, Kofun's healing factor saves him from suffering literally any injury from having chunks of concrete fall on his head.
Dude, he's Wolverine.
Now, instead of the sighted people helping to lead the blind Pensans over the rubble and continue on to safety, everyone decides to go back to where the bombs are falling and go fight Sybeth. Yay, team.
Hey, real quick, I need someone to take a note. And if you're listening or watching, you won't get this unless you're a Patreon member. But when we create our sex bunkers, we have to make sure that they're bomb proof.
Oh, this is accurate.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Sign up for saltinerdclub.com if you
Sign
want
up for sex bunkers.
if you want to understand that reference. That is a Patreon only reference. That and feet pics.
I love how Kofun just literally stops everyone.
Yeah.
He's like, stop.
Okay, this is saying a lot. But I have never been so frustrated with Kofun than I have been in this episode.
Yeah.
Loathe him.
What the fuck?
I loathe him.
Kofun.
Yeah.
Hate him.
He just Kofuns it down
They
the tunnel.
Kofuns it down the... Wait a second, guys. This bomb is falling on our head. We gotta stop.
And even when Magra's like, run, he's just like, ugh.
He starts casually.
And when the cave collapses on him and he's trapped under that rubble, I was like out loud, please be dead. Please be dead.
What if he
Please
did
be
though?
dead.
If he died that way, I think it would have been a little disappointing.
No,
It would have been
Perfect.
fitting. If it's good enough for Cersei Lannister, it's good enough for Kofun.
Oh, is that a season 8 reference?
Yeah.
How dare you?
Final seasons, baby.
Yeah, damn.
Yeah, I would have been perfectly okay with him dying right there. No problem.
So I need to dump a little salt on this.
Oh, please.
In addition, so like,
Why?
so when I was doing some research, I did some research into tunnels. Okay,
Why?
This is how nerdy I am.
What the fuck are you doing?
This guy's gonna have a stroke, I swear to God.
So for maintenance tunnels, like stuff that like runs piped and stuff, like you have like a minimum depth of at least 6 feet.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It usually goes like 6 to 8 feet. Out here in Vegas, when they're digging tunnels for like traffic and like the loop and stuff like that, it's literally 30 feet below ground. And that's typical for like subways. I think subways are like 170 feet below ground or something like that. So you have a substantial amount of earth over these tunnels. And then you have reinforced concrete. Like if you look at the tunnel they're going down, like that's a solidly built concrete tunnel.
That's big enough for trucks and stuff to move through.
Yeah, but you can also see like the support structures and stuff like that. And they're thick. They're like, like at thickest point, it's probably like 3 feet of concrete.
Like my dick.
Yeah, exactly. So the idea that these bombs that Sybeth is hurling over there, is making any impact whatsoever on these tunnels doesn't make any sense to me because in order for that, like there are specifically designed bunker buster bombs, which are meant to kind of like send the shockwave down and the explosion downward into the structure in order to bust the bunker. And these things, like you would have heard them underneath the ground, but like they would not have collapsed the roof. And so like, I know that like, I'm probably reading too much into this, but at the same time, I'm just like, they should have thought of like a different way to handle this. I don't know.
I really want one of the shows that we watch to reach out to you and be like, hey, can you fix this?
Can you just proofread our script?
Like you're doing, again, do less. Like,
no, it's just my curiosity because I was like, how deep?
You have the time to even look up all of this shit.
I was like, how deep underground are these tunnels? And it's like they're at least 6 feet underground, right?
Minimum.
So,
That's minimum. That's for like a low level maintenance.
We talked about these tunnels a lot.
It's too much. God damn it. Fucking Kofun. All right, keep on going.
Wait till I talk about the bombs.
Oh, you mean Tormada's big steel balls?
Yes.
All right.
I'm going to talk about this.
I have something to say about the bombs too.
Yeah.
I can't wait.
All right. Back in Sybeth's camp, Baba and Poopbeard start making enough noise killing fools that other guards start realizing, hey, somebody's murdering us. And Super Ayura feels all the murder in the ground and tells Tormada that 2 men are killing the guards, one of whom is very large, because you can totally hear how large someone is.
Now all of a sudden she can see him.
Sybeth instantly knows the large man is Boba Voss, and Tormada sounds the alarm. Now all the soldiers in camp start searching for Boo Boo and Poopbeard, led by Tormada's henchman Mad Maddox. Baba and Poopbeard play dead to avoid the guards because it turns out it's super easy to trick blind people. At least until Mad Maddox finds them, and we get a big old fight where Baba takes down Tormada's henchmen once and for all. R.I.P. Maddox, you were almost tall enough to fight Jason Momoa.
I know.
Badass
I liked
fight.
him. I
Badass
wanted more
fight.
of him.
Well,
I have an issue with this fight.
yeah,
How
me
so?
too.
Because he fucks up Baba Voss bad. Baba Voss just
Stabs him through the freaking wrist.
got through a fight with Edo Voss
Yeah.
and didn't take half that much damage.
It was his brother. It was going easy.
It
on
just
him.
I don't feel like this guy should have had that much of an effect on
It's the final season.
Baba. I know. I get it.
The thing that I had, the problem I had with this fight with Maddox is that, again, this was a setup that missed a payoff because from episode maybe 2, Maddox and Ren, like Maddox was the guy that killed Olamon and like tried to kill Ren and stuff like that. And so he was set up to be Ren's,
Right.
Adversary.
And so I feel like Ren should have been the one to kill Maddox as opposed to like Baba Voss, because that would have been like a really epic fight, and I feel like that would have been a good payoff where like she got revenge for Olamon by killing Maddox.
Okay.
And that would have been the payoff to, the setup that we got in episode 2 where he kills Olamon and she's able to avenge Olamon by killing this guy that was responsible for his death. And so I feel like that was a missed opportunity where it's like, oh, we're going to have Baba Voss fight yet another big guy for like the 3rd time this season.
Well, they realized how tall he was.
Almost tall enough to take on Jason Momoa. But that was my big problem with it was just that like it was a missed opportunity to complete that arc for Ren because she was pretty much in the background this entire episode.
Yeah, I felt like he made a really good bad guy, and I would have liked to have seen him peppered throughout the season more.
Yeah, and if they were going to have this final showdown with him and Baba Voss, there should have been like a scene earlier in the season where like they face off and he messes up Baba Voss. Yeah.
I can see where you're coming from, but it didn't bother me. I was like, that dude needs to go up against Baba Voss. And I had a great time with that fight. It was a cool ass fight.
I'm with Matt. I think it would have been much more pleasing if
Ren
had gotten taken out. Yeah, absolutely.
Ren's
Because then it would have been much more ironic that big, huge dude getting taken out by the little.
Because big brains versus big dick energy.
Yeah, it would have been much more satisfying to me. Yeah.
I think it should have been Henua just from 1,000 feet away with an arrow.
Oh, we're going to talk about that.
Freaking
The never-ending arrows.
Oh my God, those arrows were. She was a
Hawkeye.
badass.
She's Hawkeye.
Oh yeah, she's freaking bullseye.
Oh, she
people
puts
in the
Hawkeye
head.
to shame,
Yeah,
man.
she's way better than Hawkeye.
Badass. Yes.
Yeah.
Give me more of that. All right, let's keep going.
All right. Mahgra uses her fast travel ability, and once she's reloaded her last save checkpoint, she comes scrolling up to Sybeth's camp, ding-a-linging to announce her arrival. Sybeth decides to go and accept Magra's surrender, but when Tormada points out all the reasons why this is a trap and that they should continue their assault, Sybeth counters with, "You came inside me." And Tormada is like, "Well played, my queen. All my perfectly reasonable arguments are mute."
Good for him.
And every guy who's ever dated a high-maintenance chick totally feels Tormada's pain. Anyway, Sybeth then goes without any personal guard to meet her sister, who not only usurped her and almost had her killed numerous times, but also has no reason not to kill her right now. Sybeth and Mahgra chat and cry and hug, and then Mahgra steals Sybeth's arm shank and cuts her throat, finally killing the crazy bitch in the most anticlimactic way possible. R.I.P. Sybeth Kane, you will always be the queen of our hearts and hand jobs.
We get another musical number too.
Very anticlimactic.
Hold on. Going back a little bit. That conversation with Tormada, where she's like, don't ruin today. You had sex. You came in me.
You lost your virginity. It's a
great day. Don't fuck it up by being a douchebag. That conversation was freaking hilarious. Yeah. I loved it. I thought that was so funny.
I feel like we needed like a full season of like their relationship.
Yes.
You know, like developing and stuff like that. Like there should have been like a season 4 where all this stuff happens. Season 3, like they get together and like we just see them like become man and wife and their interplay with each other.
And
Guildenstern
are their personal guards.
Yes. They're just useless.
Yes.
I love it.
No, but Sylvia Hooks and David Hewlett together, it's like magic on screen.
Yeah.
Like I loved it every time.
The chemistry is real between those two. It's amazing. So you guys think this is anticlimactic? Because I felt like it was like a sister, like Mahgra coming and having to kill her sister. I thought that was like really built up over the last whole season.
I think it was a weird scene. I saw it coming.
1,000 miles away.
I thought that the lead up to that was kind of long-winded with the song and the tears and all of that. And then all of it, like she pokes her in the neck with the wrist shank, and then she's like dead. Yeah. Like immediately. And I thought the lead up went too long, but the death scene was too quick.
They should have had a conversation while she's bleeding out.
Yeah, I wanted her to have more like, I see what you did. I understand why you did it. I still love you, and I hate you. It's anything.
It should have been something like you're finally a queen.
Yeah.
You finally did what was necessary.
You finally have pulled the trigger.
Ooh. I wanted closure for
that. Would have been a powerful line.
I didn't just want Queen Kane to die at Magra's hand. I wanted closure.
Yeah. She's like gushing blood. She's like, you finally did what was necessary.
I'm so proud of you. You finally were able
You're finally a queen.
Yeah. Be able to make the hard decision.
Oh, yeah. That would have been good. Yeah. You're right.
I also think that it's kind of funny that, so just from a logistical perspective, like she didn't bring any guards with her. She didn't have Mahgra restrained while she was talking to her, because she should have fully expected that Mahgra was going to try something. But what gets me even more is that, so Hana was like right over there, right? She couldn't just have shot Queen Kane with an arrow from like, couple distance away.
Because Mahgra needed to do it.
One of those things that don't make sense,
Yeah, like Hannah was selective, arrow use. A little odd to me. Yeah. A little odd.
She had to give Mahgra her chance.
That bow that Hannah carries around, used strategically, could have changed.
Ended the whole war.
I feel like they should have made a bow out of a whistle sword so that she could kill in several different ways. That would have been a much cooler weapon for her.
Well, I also think after watching like the in battle scene here, it's like all Hannah needed to do was get within like 50 yards of like the army, and she would have just taken them all out.
Yeah.
Like it was ridiculous how many people she killed at a range.
She was being a badass this episode. She's like she went full Legolas.
Yeah.
Like that scene, like that one dude who was like banging the drum and he was like signaling to the guys to throw the bombs.
He was right in the middle of a tune.
He's in the middle of it and she goes, and then she's gone. I was like, damn.
She'll miss.
Freaking badass, dude.
When I say that I saw like the murder of Sybeth coming, we all saw how she was going to do it though, right?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
The wrist shank.
Yeah, the wrist shank.
Okay.
For sure. Yeah. 1,000 heartbeats.
I would have been pissed off if she hadn't killed her that way.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, she went there like with nothing, right? She just wanted to go, and she was like, I'm going to surrender. And then she knew that her sister had a shank. So she just poked her in the artery. Like, haha, gotcha, bitch.
She took the snake necklace off and she stabbed her with that too.
Yeah. I get it. I do feel like it was a little anticlimactic.
Okay.
We need
Well, we knew that Sybeth was going to die in this episode. Sure. And when we were talking to Sylvia Hooks, we kept trying to get her to give us some hints.
So how do you feel about your death?
That none of these people would tell us what we wanted to know.
Yeah.
They shouldn't tell us what we want to know.
Y'all are way too professional for us.
But she said that she felt that the way Sybeth ended her story, her run on the show was appropriate.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so, dying by her sister's hands. I can understand.
And dying by her own shank.
Yeah.
I felt it was appropriate. I just felt they could have.
It could have been more impactful.
Could have been more impactful.
I like that line that you said.
Yeah.
Like, no, you are
that
a
was
true
like
queen.
that was like her theme for the whole thing.
Yeah, that would have been good.
She's a queen who can't make the hard decisions. Mm-hmm. She finally makes one, and they don't. I mean, she does it, but it would have been just that exclamation point.
Need to have the period at the end of that sentence.
Would have been really cool.
I got you.
Yeah, like the entire episode, Sybeth is basically talking about how Magra is going to sacrifice herself for the sake of her kingdom, because that's just the type of person Magra is, and she wasn't expecting her to come in fighting. So like it was kind of like there was a lot of buildup to a scene that basically just ultimately falls flat, which is a shame because it was like the culmination of like 3 seasons worth of these sisters like fighting each other.
Yeah. So. Also, Sybeth still thinks that she's like blessed by God in order to like have her throne and succeed. And
it would have been funny if Tormada put a sighted baby in her.
Wouldn't that have been something?
Let's talk about Tormada.
Let's keep going.
All right. Tormada isn't too happy when he finds out his sugar mama has just been murdered and orders his soldiers, all the guys standing around not protecting the queen, to belatedly protect the queen by killing the people who just killed her. Tamakta June then loads his last save checkpoint and magically appears by Mahgra, who both enter in their invincibility cheat codes to begin murdering all the Trevantian soldiers who come rushing at them. Meanwhile, Kofun, Rin, and Hanawa show up, and Hanawa starts shooting everyone with arrows except for Tormada, who is just standing there within eyeshot. But Hanawa decides to kill the battle drummer, who is much further away than Tormada, instead as Tormada fucks off. Meanwhile, the assault on Pensa with the bombs continue as Kofun, Rin, Hanawa, Magra, Tamakta June, Poopbeard, and Boba Voss start killing everyone in the camp, and you have to wonder why Pensa needs an army when 7 people are literally slaughtering every Trevantian and Witchfinder in Sybeth's camp.
With 7 main characters.
Baba Voss then comes across Tormada and is all like, Hewlett. But before Baba Voss can rush over and kill him, Tormada has somehow gotten hold of some old-timey World War I style grenades from a loot box he opened in the time it took him to fuck off from Hanawa's arrows and toss one towards Baba. The hand grenade explodes, disabling Baba Voss and a number of Tormada's own soldiers. But don't worry, the explosion apparently has a radius of 1 foot, as most of the blind people in the area weren't affected by the loud explosion at all.
That's it.
I love the video game references that you're dropping. These are amazing.
Just throw the grenade thing in the general direction of him. And
the grenade thing pissed me off so much. I was like, where did he get hand grenades?
Yeah.
It's
I just
like,
assumed that he had the kids make them.
Yeah,
I feel like he had them the whole time. Didn't he use one before?
No. This is the first time that they introduced them. This is the first time they were seen. They were never mentioned before. At least with the trebuchets, they had the common decency to kind of set those up where like he mentions like, oh, we have these machines that can throw the bombs. But the grenades literally came out of nowhere. Like when he used that against Baba Voss, I was like, wait a minute, where did those come from? Because grenades aren't like these bombs that they're shooting with like compressed coal. Grenades require like an igniting,
an ignition source.
Yeah.
You pull the pin, let it light, and then throw it.
Like it was literally a safety pin. I was like, how are blind people making safety pins?
You see, he leveled up and he got some loot.
Yeah.
And he got some magic grenades, like he just said.
He somehow got them within the time it took for him to walk away from like the head of like the field to like wherever Baba Voss was.
Wouldn't it have been cool if he like this whole season he's just had them on his like utility belt across his chest? He's just like, these are for special use.
Well, what's funny is like I went back and rewatched the episode and I was looking at like the scenes where he was there, and when he uses the grenade, he like pulls it from like a strap around like his chest, and they're kind of like hanging at his side. And then I go back and literally the scene right before that, like nowhere to be found. Like those things were literally just put in there at the last minute because he needed some way to keep Baba Voss from killing him or something like that.
Do we expect any less?
No.
I mean, that's
fine.
Whatever.
It's fine.
I feel like this is exactly the scene. Remember when we were talking to, I forget who we were talking to. Maybe it was, I think it might have been Tropper. When he was like, when we were filming certain scenes, they were like, the salty nerds aren't doing this. This is the scene.
This is the thing, yeah. Where'd he get those grenades from? Don't worry about it.
Just like one setup in the penultimate episode where like maybe he has a box and he's like caressing them and he's like, my precious, or something like that. And Sybeth is like, what are those? And he's like, oh, we found these at the House of Enlightenment. They're handheld explosives or something like that. Just a little thing to kind of set this up so
God thunder in the palm of your hand.
Yeah. It was literally a Deus Ex Machina. It was like something that just came out of nowhere with no setup whatsoever. And I'm like, come on, Tropper, you're better than this.
Tormada got all the tools.
He's cool. He's fine. He's got it in his little backpack over there. He's like, I've got these. I've been saving them for today.
But then, it's fine. Whatever.
I don't care.
Then Ranger finds him.
Can we talk about that death scene?
Please.
Did we get there yet?
Yeah,
Go ahead.
Okay. Hanawa, Ren, and Kofun have just entered their invincibility codes and are killing a lot of soldiers, but Tormada plans to use his Deus Ex grenades to put an end to all that, at least until Poopbeard tackles him just as he pulls the safety pin and is now pinned on top of his active grenade by Poopbeard. Tormada is then blown up by his own creation in a sweet twist of irony, but he's only mostly dead, having survived laying on top of a grenade, so Poopbeard decides to finish the job by stabbing him in his big, beautiful brain right through his eye. R.I.P. Dr. Rodney Tormada. We will see you in that great shining Pegasus galaxy in the sky.
Best death scene of the entire series.
Yeah?
No.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, Baba has some really good murders.
No, this was the best one.
Remember when he takes
Man,
the guy's mouth and he goes like this?
That was cool. That was
I
cool.
do remember that.
But this is like a brain through a knife through the eye socket, and they show it, and it's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
And it looked painful. And it looked like he got what he
Dude,
deserved.
I was
just like, oh my God, that is gnarly.
even before that, when he pulls the pin on his grenade and then the guy tackles him and he's like, no shit, no. And he like blows up his chest.
Hewlett was acting the shit out of that moment. Like you could see like the
Pure
panic in his
terror.
eyes.
Yeah. He's like, oh shit.
Because at the end of the day, all of his big brain energy didn't mean squat.
No.
Yeah, got him.
Yeah,
Open.
that was the most satisfying death in this entire show.
I could have used more gore for that part.
And it actually completed Ranger's revenge arc. Like it was one of those things where it's like, wow, you actually paid off something you set up earlier in the season.
Yeah.
Ranger's the one.
Everything
which is
that happened in that scene is what I wanted in Magra and Sibeth.
Yeah.
Because didn't one of the people that we talked to about this show was like, yeah, Jason Momoa was going to get to kill Hewlett finally, right?
Flanagan
gaslighted us into thinking that. These people are just hoodwinking us left and right.
No, I'm beginning to think they don't like us at all.
They're like, I'm going to lie to their face and they're not even going to know. Ha ha ha. Because like when he said that, I was like, oh shit, he just gave away the ending of the season.
We were so concerned. We were like, oh, were you not supposed to tell us that?
Oh shit, he was fucking with us.
You fucking gaslighter.
I actually think Flanagan probably actually believed that Momoa was going to kill Hewlett.
He might not have known himself. He was barely in this season.
Yeah, maybe. That's a bummer too. But anyway, that was a great death scene. I liked it.
Yeah, my favorite.
Brutal. I could have used more. I wanted like when they rolled Tormada over after the grenade blew up. I would have been like, yes, give me like chest cavity open, full on horror. Like give me all of it. But it's okay.
Tormada was actually pretty tough. He survived that grenade explosion.
He did survive that. Maybe they're just shitty grenades.
Maybe it was a dud.
I don't know. Like it was a little bit unbelievable that Ranger was able to survive that, even though he used Tormada as a human shield inadvertently. But the thing that gets me is like you have all these grenades going off, and it's not affecting anyone's hearing like at all, even when you're on top of it. So it was kind of weird because I know that was a big thing, at least at the beginning of the season, like when these bombs went off, all these people who rely on their hearing to like survive and navigate the world.
Maybe they get used to it.
I don't know if you ever get used to that.
No, you don't. I was using an angle grinder this week and all I heard was ringing for like a day. It's pretty rough. All right, let's keep going.
All right. So all the Pensans are now back in the city as bombs continue to fall despite Trevantian leadership being all dead. Apparently the bomb dropping is just on autopilot now, but Baba has to put an end to things. So he takes off his shirt, flexes his muscles, and tells Hanawa to stay back and shoot everything with arrows.
Oh my God.
In a very dramatic scene, Boba Voss rushes the gauntlet of Trevantian guards and makes his way to the stockpile of bombs as Hanawa does what she literally could have been doing since the beginning and shooting all the bad guys with arrows. Baba finally makes it to the bombs and picks up a hammer, climbing up to the top of the bomb pile. And before he dies, he whispers to Mahgra, who is also a super Ayura, by the way, that he sees her. And then Boba Voss goes out like a total boss, hitting the bombs with his hammer, detonating all the bombs and killing everyone in a 3-mile radius who hasn't already activated their invincibility cheat codes.
This shit pissed me off.
Where did he get the hammer
This
from?
pissed me off too.
He picked it up. When he was running, he picked it up.
Oh, was that?
and
That's
he
the big
climbed
bad
up.
guy's weapon, right?
No, it was the hammer that they used to release the mechanism for the trebuchets.
Okay. Gotcha.
This was
Why? I thought this was
no,
fine.
It was Munir.
No.
No. This was
This was
terrible.
a terrible ending for Bob.
What? You're high.
No, I'm not.
How so? Defend your position, sir.
Because he's the main character of the show, and he shouldn't have died at all. Why would he die?
He sacrificed himself for his family.
All Hannah had to do was shoot one of the fucking bombs with an arrow. And they all would have
her arrow would not have gone through that metal shell. There's no way.
They could have figured something else out.
My main complaint was, how did that not kill everyone?
Yeah, you do have to consider that, because they were all pretty close to that explosion. Then it was like, what, 100 bombs stacked up?
I just
huge.
hate the trope of sacrificing himself to save the 6 people that were
the 6 people.
It was dumb. It was a dumb fucking ending.
No.
And the silly part is we're only 20 minutes into the fucking episode so far when it goes out.
You have to watch the aftermath.
I just felt very empty. I felt very cheated with the ending of this show.
I completely disagree.
Like
that whole rampage through the gauntlet of guards, and he takes his shirt off and he's already gonna die. That's something you have to consider too.
If he was gonna die, I wanted my Iron Man Robert Downey Jr. moment at the end of this thing, and that's not what we got.
It's not even close. I can see that, but he was already bleeding out. He was dying anyway. He knew he was dying, so he's like, I've got this much energy left in me. I'm gonna make my final stand and destroy these bombs. And that's what he did. And I felt like it was completely satisfied. I was completely satisfied by that.
I want to know why Matt hated it.
So I have a question.
Yeah.
So when we saw the sighted children in the House of Enlightenment making the bombs, it was these open casks.
Yeah.
And
they were like shells.
Yeah, but they were just putting metal junk inside and sealing them up. What's in them? It's just...
So I can actually answer that question.
Okay.
And I agree with Alex, and I feel like this was an appropriate ending for Boba Voss's story. But I also agree with Vader, where this didn't make any sense, but for a different reason. And the reason is how these bombs work. So they've made it clear that in the show, the bombs are basically compressed coal. Mm-hmm. And what that means is when you grind coal down into coal dust, very fine granular, it burns very quick. Because if you have a lump of coal, it's going to heat up and it's going to carry the heat. But if you grind it down into a fine powder,
it's very ignitable.
It basically ignites like full bore. And they base this concept of these bombs on what's called coal torpedoes. And what you do with these things is you have some type of airtight metal structure that can be, basically broken apart into shrapnel in an explosion. And what they do is they layer in, a bunch of coal powder, and then they fill it with compressed air. And what happens is as the coal powder permeates the air and gets equalized in it, any type of spark ignites the coal and creates a huge explosion with a big shock wave that breaks apart the metal and creates shrapnel and fireballs, and it's a thermal explosion basically. So it creates a lot of heat damage, and it creates shrapnel and all this stuff, and that's how the bomb works. It's basically just coal dust and air. And in the end of last season, the final episode where Olamon demonstrates the bombs to Tormada, and then at the beginning of this season where they're fighting at the USS DirecTV, they use fuse wire to go to a detonator that sends an electric current through the fuse, ignites a spark in all the bombs, ignites the coal inside that's been permeated through the compressed air, and blows it up. Now, the big problem is when you know how the bombs work, them hitting the ground does not ignite them because there's no spark unless they lit a bomb fuse before they shot them into Pensa. But the big thing with how Jason Momoa went out is if you hit one of those with a hammer, you're just releasing the air that has permeated that it has suspended the coal dust in it, and thus the coal dust just falls to the ground. Without a spark, it doesn't ignite. So him hitting the bomb and making it explode doesn't work. It doesn't make any sense.
Wouldn't that create a spark? The metal hammer on the metal bomb?
Not consistently, possibly. But my issue was I think you're thinking way too much. I think you're thinking way too much about it. I think the bombs, the way they were, when we get to see the inside of them, there was 2 compartments within it. Remember, there was a gunpowder part of it, and then there was another part, and then once you combust the two, and the impact of hitting the ground is what explodes it, right? I do feel like we're overthinking this a little bit.
100%.
Need to let it go.
I don't think so. So we've never gotten a clear idea of how these bombs work, but we know that in the setup for further use, they needed to have some type of detonation. And here, when they're just hitting the ground or they're being hit by a hammer, there is no detonation thing. You have to remember, these guys aren't super scientifically advanced. Tormada wasn't making, ignition fuses for all these things. It was basically just like, okay, we have wire, we have a spark. That's what blows these things up. And so, their entire use against like the city of Pensa and Jason Momoa hitting them isn't consistent with, what the technology behind these things are really.
I get everything you just said, but for some reason, I don't care.
Most people don't.
I just took it as like it was a compression thing. If you hit the bomb hard enough, it ignites itself.
I didn't care how the bombs blew up. I was mad that that's how Momoa went out.
I thought it was great.
I just didn't think it was.
He's got like shrapnel all over. He's bleeding out. He's got a sword cut in his back. Did you see when he climbed up onto that freaking mountain and his back split open? I was like, oh,
but that goes back to the fact that I don't think that other dude should have beaten his ass as bad as he did. I feel like they kind of did Boba Voss wrong. I feel like Jason was just like, I'm dying at the end of the season, and you just have to take me out because I'm not coming back.
I got to be on the Aquaman set in like 30 minutes.
Blow me up. I want to be dead.
We're done with the show. Just kill me.
He pulled a Harrison Ford.
Literally in a blaze of glory.
Yeah.
I want to die.
No, like I felt like it was an appropriate end, and it was a badass scene. It was just great. But like if you think about it for more than 2 seconds, it kind of falls apart.
Yeah.
I haven't mentioned this yet, but Henna's like Predator hairstyle. I'm digging it, man.
Yeah.
She straight looks like a predator.
Right. Well,
we haven't gotten to it, but I love Ren's wedding hair.
We'll get there. Yeah.
Can we talk about why Ren didn't just like do what she did in this scene, like the past 3 episodes?
she's a background character.
Like she was literally killing everyone. Like there was a scene where she stabbed a guy through the neck with the arrow, and then shot the arrow through his neck somehow to hit the guy behind him. Yes. I was just like, you don't need an army. You just need Ren with like an unlimited supply of arrows.
Ren and Henna together could take out half the army.
I would have really appreciated one scene in anywhere in the season where they were like making arrows.
It's like her quiver couldn't hold that many arrows. There was one scene in this thing where I don't know if it was this episode or this last episode. She had 3 arrows in her quiver.
Yes, I noticed that too.
Yeah.
3.
One scene where she's walking through the town. She has 3 or 4 arrows, and then the next scene she has like a whole bundle of them.
Yeah,
and I was like, "That's fine."
But
whatever.
I don't know, man. So Boba Voss dies, and we're 20 minutes into this episode, and we still have an hour and 75 minutes of ending. This is like Peter Jackson on steroids, the fucking ending of this series.
No.
It's ridiculous.
They have to tie up all the loose ends. You can't just end on the explosion.
They did the same thing with the season 2 finale where like the Battle of Green Hill Gap was like the first 20-25 minutes, and then the rest of it was just set up for the next season.
Just so much stupid shit.
I had no problem with it. I'm super excited to talk about Henna though. Keep going. What happens next?
All right. Now that the bad guys are dead, Pensa is rebuilding. Mahgra has adopted No, but she's very sad that Aquaman is no longer around to bang her or protect the city. Henna and Rin get married because even though sight is illegal, gay marriage isn't. So that's one thing Pensa got right. Hey, remember the bank who orchestrated the coup in Trevanti? She comes back to suffer 0 consequences and is now the sole ruler of the Trevantians. Yeah. And despite the Trevantians getting their asses kicked by Pensa in 2 major battles by a sum total of 7 people, they keep acting like they're a threat. Hanawa has had enough of the bank shit, but Kofun shows he's not completely useless, as he basically tells the bank, yeah, I suck and will totally meet all your unreasonable demands. And then he's praised as a great negotiator by everyone. After basically surrendering to the Trevantians, Magra and Tamakta visit the impact site where Boba Voss killed everything. And Tamakta says that it's cool that they cucked themselves to the Trevantis because no matter what, the sighted are coming back and there's nothing anyone can do to stop it. And then Magra and Tamakta hug, and it's only a matter of time before Magra finds out if Tamakta has one hell of a cock. Turns out Poopbeard survived the massive explosion too, and he's planning on fucking off back into the woods so he can get poop smeared in his beard by Lou Lion, the way it was always meant to be. Charlotte comes back to say goodbye to Hanawa, complain about the shitty Driller Morel children, and give Hanawa a gift from Shiva that is a map to another House of Enlightenment. Hanawa decides to pull a Boba Voss and executes an Irish goodbye with her wife and leave for the new House of Enlightenment where sight isn't a crime without telling anyone what she's doing. A year after Hanawa fucks off, Kofun decides to blind himself because no one will follow a sighted king. And he doesn't want to live in a world that's different from the one his son lives in. Though Kofun can barely function in a world with his sight, we're all sure he'll be just fine being blind. Turns out Hannah and Ren spent a year traveling to the New York Public Library, where a community of sighted people are already polishing their guns. They welcome Renoa with open arms as a new dawn rises for those with the gift of sight. The end. Thank you, C. We shall miss you.
Oh my God. I've never been so frustrated with a character in my life.
Fucking Kofun.
Kofun. What
Jesus.
the hell?
What a moron.
Do you remember when we asked everyone, like, is Kofun gonna get
Be
better?
redeemed? Is he gonna be?
Are we gonna like him? And they went,
Maybe. He wants, like, okay, so like the biggest thing, like, tie up all the loose ends. Okay, yep. Hannah was off with her, or I was gonna say boy
wife.
toy. Her wife. They go off. That's really cool. I love seeing New York. That was neat.
That was cool.
I don't like
Yeah,
that,
yeah,
and I want to see more of that. I want to see like the adventures of Hannah and Ren or whatever. But
Really?
when
Do
Kofun
you-
is talking to
do you-
Magra,
do you
yes, I do. When Kofun is don't
Really?
do that.
Really?
Yes, I do want to see that.
in New York?
When
Post-apocalypse New York?
fuck yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Come on.
I don't think I
Cannibals?
Those people seem great.
Give me more.
Sure.
Anyway,
Remember Boots' tribe? They suck.
remember the water bottles? Listen, when Kofun is sitting there talking to Magra and he's like, I want to be in the same world that my son is in. And I was like,
You dumb shit.
what the fuck are you talking about, bro? Like,
I know it's
do you remember the scene from House of Dragons when Alicent looks at Aegon and she's like, you imbecile. Like,
Yeah.
that's what Magra should have said to him.
Yeah.
And immediately I'm wondering, I'm like, okay, all right, Kofun, how the fuck are you going to do that? You're going to poke yourself in the eye with a hot poker? You're going to scoop it out with a spoon? How are you going to blind yourself with acid?
He's going to stare into the sun for a long time.
How are you going to do it? I want to know.
Do they have
He's
special?
gonna fuck that up too.
They have a special potion you can drink and make you blind.
Like, I want to see the
How about some-
scene.
how about some
He's gonna
arsenic?
end up like Big Dick Riddick
God.
and only be able to like see in,
the
super
dark.
darkness.
I want to know, man. What are you going to do?
I
What are you
know-
going to do with your eyes?
I know it's supposed to juxtapose the differences between the twins. Like she's going off to live in Sighted City, and
Right.
he has chosen the opposite.
Right.
But it's so dumb.
Oh my God, it's so dumb.
It's really dumb.
I want to see another series where it's just Hannah goes to war with Kofun. And he's like, you're sighted. You don't belong here.
She's gonna go back someday, and she's gonna go, how dumb.
Yeah, yeah. I feel like these last 3 seasons have set up a really great show that we're never gonna get.
Oh, yeah, no. Hannah versus Kofun.
Right.
I'm here. I'm Team Hannah 100%.
I need a graphic novel series.
The funniest part about this was when Kofun basically like negotiates with the Trevantians and basically says like, okay, we'll outlaw sight. We'll literally do everything you're demanding.
and
my
then he
God.
holds hands with everyone.
Oh, yeah.
And everyone's like, oh, he's so brilliant. He's so good at negotiating.
You're going to be a good king someday. Like, shut the fuck up. No, he's not. He's going to be
He's
terrible.
literally going to be the worst king ever.
He's gonna Kofun it. His whole reign is gonna be Kofun.
And you know, the easy solution to this is basically like, hey, Magra just anoints Wolfie as her successor, and Kofun's there to like guide him. You know, like he doesn't need to like inherit the throne.
Or how about tell the Trevantians to go fuck themselves? Like, we beat you in 2 battles.
Yeah.
Like, bring it on, you
Yeah.
idiots. You just destroyed half of your own government.
Now, hold on. They beat a rogue splinter group of their military that was led by a crazy
A
person.
mad scientist.
All right.
That wasn't their military.
Yeah, but their whole council is taken out, and their army hasn't had a chance to regroup.
Well, it would have been funny if Hannah and Kofun had used their sight to figure out how to build more bombs and use them as a deterrent to be like, hey, you can't attack us.
But that would make sense, Matt. Come on.
Come on.
Well, Kofun's anti-bomb, though. He's like, I'm
gonna go put
burn
the
it
eyeballs
down.
out.
He's been anti-sight too.
I'm going to go.
I'm gonna go sit on a majestic cliff with my son.
You do realize that the Compass has like a whole group of people who know how to make these bombs, and they could have like brought them to Pensa and like given them this deterrent just to intimidate the Trevantians to slow
Child
down.
slave labor
Isn't that just like the nuclear, self-assured destruction or whatever it's called, where you
would have
have
been
like,
full circle for the show.
It's called deterrence.
yeah,
You know, it would have been a great way to ensure peace with Trevantes by basically saying like, hey, if you attack us, we're going to unleash these bombs on you.
I don't know, man. I'm just still frustrated with
I
Kofun.
wanted to see a Boba Voss Haka funeral dance.
Yeah.
Something.
Yeah, we never got a funeral for
Yeah, we
Boba.
didn't. They went full Han Solo with that
They
guy,
just
huh?
they put some shit on a rock in the middle of the forest.
They didn't even bury him. Well, I mean, there's nothing
to
bury.
They made some
but
knots and a remembrance
something
of him.
like big bad Boba Voss, big old penis just standing out in the field somewhere.
No, that's on Harlan's grave.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, that's right. Sorry, Harlan.
I don't know, man.
he didn't even get like a bust of his face to hang on the wall or anything like that.
I don't remember what he looks like.
I feel like
just that he's very big.
He's just big.
He sounds big.
Go ahead, V.
I just feel like all the way they wrapped everything up just felt super rushed and super cringy in a lot of ways. And
it was very fitting for this show, dude.
I guess
for this show, I do feel like this was just kind of like a season where they were like, we just want the show to be done.
Yeah.
So like we're going to do it in the most lazy way possible.
How can we wrap everybody's arc up
Exactly.
and film it and just be done with this thing?
Well,
it's like, okay, well, Kofun's gonna like want to be blind,
fuck.
and Hannah's gonna go fuck off with her wife, and they're gonna go to New York and find more people like them.
I like that.
It was all right.
I like that part.
Whatever.
Do you guys think Magra hooks up with Tamaki?
Oh, for sure. They already have.
100%. Yeah.
They already have. Damn straight.
Yep.
I don't.
One hell of a cock.
Yeah.
No, I think Tamakta June falls in love with her, and she goes, I can't because I still love Boba Voss.
That's probably
And
true.
he's like, but I have one hell of a cock. She's like, I'll never know.
I'll never know. And he's like, God damn it. Should have stayed with Queen Kane. She would have fucked me at least.
She would let me come inside her. I wanted this whole season to be Hewlett and Queen Kane. Like that would have been fantastic.
All right.
Yeah. I don't know.
And Ranger and Boba.
Let's wrap this up. I'm sure we're going to do another. I think we're going to record another episode where we just kind of. We're going to reminisce.
Post-mortem.
And I'm sure we're going to have some other people on as well. But
Can we cosplay?
Real quick. Yeah, absolutely. Real quick. Final thoughts on this season finale, bud. Not your jam, huh?
How to put it in words.
This finale was bullshit. I just didn't like it.
Okay.
I didn't like how they ended a lot of these stories. There were some missed opportunities there, and I just didn't like how things wrapped up for these characters. I didn't like it.
Okay.
Whatever. I mean, it's a fun show. Don't get me wrong. It's a good show. I've had a great time talking about it with everybody for the last few years, but I wanted something more. I guess there was just stuff that would have done differently. I'll just leave it at that for now.
Okay.
So,
all right.
Was there a push the rock off the cliff moment for you in this?
No, I don't think so. That was taken care of at the beginning of the season with the
satellite
dish. Yeah, I would have liked more satellite dish moments.
What about the parking lot of Woe?
Stupid. Fucking stupid.
With like 1984, Astro vans with still paint on them.
Yeah.
Come on, bro.
No.
So good.
Astro Man.
Yeah, Astro vans.
It's like we already fixed that.
All right.
Yeah, we it's like cannibals.
We're good. All right, Jude. Final thoughts on this season finale, series finale.
It's so bittersweet because I still want to talk about C, but I don't know. I think it was a fitting end. Part of me is like, yeah, I'm glad it's over. But part of me is just like, but I want it to keep going. I don't know. I feel so torn about it. I think that Baba's final scene was very fitting for him. I loved like when he took his shirt off and you see like just how fucked up he is. He's still got shrapnel in him.
Mm-hmm.
I loved all of that. I wanted to have more closure with Magra and Sibeth. There are things that I wanted more, but there are things that I'm like, okay, it's cathartic. It has come to an end, and go in peace.
All right, Kadish.
All right. So in the pantheon of bad season finales, this doesn't rate anywhere close to like, Game of Thrones or anything like that. But I feel like it's an appropriate ending for this show in the sense that like it kind of started at the level of quality that began, right? Mm-hmm. In season one. And they pulled a switcheroo on us because like it was funny because I was complaining in season 2. I was like, man, this show's getting too good. Like it's not fair because
Careful what you wish for.
I missed the really bad writing from season 1. And then with season 3, they were like, okay, let's give the salty nerds what they want. And they basically said like, we're not going to be good anymore. We're just going to be as stupid as season 1.
I think you're giving us too much credit.
Yeah, like
they don't give a fuck.
There's only a handful of people who even know who we are.
No. I realize this. I'm just being facetious. Like I was with this episode up to the super Ayura who could hear shit from underground.
That was like 2 minutes in.
Yeah, that was like the beginning of the episode.
Up until then, he was on board.
Yeah.
I was one to like, buy like the musical numbers and like, like the tunnels and all this other stuff. But like the magically appearing hand grenades and the hearing underneath 6 feet of ground at least and a foot of concrete ruined this episode for me. And then like as I like dug into like how the bombs work and stuff like that, I was like, oh, they've been fucking with me for like a good 3 episodes at least. So like there's just a lot about this show that's frustrating, but at the same time, like I love how frustrating it is because like we get to talk about it and laugh about it and just have a good time with it. And I'm very sad that it's over because I feel like this is a world where we could get at least like 3 more seasons out of like, the characters living in this world and seeing how like other parts of the country operate and like, the coming like war with the Sybeth. Like I thought it was so funny that all the people who could see in New York were just sitting there polishing guns, just in case.
They knew where it was at, man.
Yeah, they certainly did.
Yeah.
So yeah, like, not the best series finale I've ever seen, but at the same time, I feel like it was good enough for what this show is. And,
I suppose.
And I want to give props to everyone who worked on it and everyone who's reached out to us from it and all that stuff, because we really did enjoy this show. Like, we might have criticized it a lot, but we enjoyed criticizing it and we enjoyed watching it and we look forward to it every week. And so like, thank you guys for creating this wonderful 3-season series that, basically like, helped us get our podcast going. It was a real treat. And we thank you for your work, your hard work.
Yeah. I definitely enjoyed this. There's the boneheaded moments of Kofun doing his thing where he wants to like gouge his eyes out or whatever. I'm never going to lose that. That's mine forever. Thank you for that.
We'll always have bonehead Kofun.
We'll always have boneheaded Kofun. And I genuinely thought it was really cool that they ended in New York City with Heno and Ren. I was like, oh shit, that could be a whole nother story right there. Like, what are these guys doing in New York? Is there like a whole...
Yeah. You just know Ren's going to get like a high-rise apartment as soon as she's out of there.
Sure.
Absolutely. She's on, Central Park West or whatever. Yeah, she's out there.
Overlooking the park?
Absolutely.
Nice.
Yeah. So there's things that I love about
I'm sure
the show.
there's some perfectly preserved apartments out there.
Immaculate. It's Donald Trump's tower.
Yeah.
I don't know why I said that.
I get the best 500-year-old tower.
It's the best one. It's put in gold. It's marble. It's fine. Won't believe it. It's
blind people are going to love it.
It's unbelievable. Unbelievable. Anyway. It's huge. It's a huge apartment. Anyway, I had a blast with this episode. It was a lot of fun. And again, shout out to everybody, cast and crew, post-production, pre-production. You guys are amazing. The fact that you've been along for this ride for this long and don't hate us is amazing in itself. You're along for the ride and laugh with us instead of at us. So.
And if you guys still have that satellite dish, we want it.
Yeah.
I'll put it right here. I was asking everybody that I knew, I'm like, do you have any props left over after the show? And they're like, no, Apple told us to destroy everything. And I was like, God damn it. I'm like, I want something for my shelf. Like, I don't care. It's a fucking, I don't know, the tip of a fucking
doesn't Vader have a rope?
Yeah. Where's your rope at? Right here? Let me see. This is ours. This is season 1.
I've been inscribing the end of it.
Yeah, that's the string that we've.
This is the entire last episode.
We started that string in season 1. Yeah. You tied it up on top of Batman.
Tells
over there.
The whole story.
Tells the whole story of the whole 3 seasons. Anyway, all right, guys. What a ride! Thanks for being here. Comment below if you worked on the show. We want to hear from you.
Yeah, and what are you doing next? Because we want to be a part of it.
I heard a rumor that somebody's working on a shitty Godzilla movie.
That sounds great.
And I can't wait to hear about it. So let us know. Comment, reach out, Instagram or Twitter or wherever your app that you use. we are always willing and love to hear from you guys. So
we need a new show to fall in love with.
yeah, I know, right?
Well, we're going to be covering Warrior pretty soon.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
but
that should be good.
That's not a goofy show like this though. That show takes itself very, very seriously.
Well, we also got season 2 of Invasion to look forward to.
No.
Apple TV.
Yeah, never disappoints.
Never disappoints. All right, guys, that's it for the episode. Thank you so much for watching. Comment below, hit the little bell notification, subscribe, share this video with your friends, and go check out See. All 3 seasons are available from start to finish. Go check it out and then watch our reviews. I promise you're going to have a lot of fun. All right, V, where can they find you on the socials, bud?
You can find me at MattVader74 on all the socials and at salty_nerd on Twitter as well.
All right. Jude?
You can find us on Facebook at saltynerdgroup.com, and you can find me on the socials at I am Jude Juju.
All right. Matthew Kadish.
You can find me at Matthew Kadish, Kadish, on Twitter and Truth Social. KadishBooks.com takes you to my Amazon page. And if you guys like what we do here, please give us a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts. We're trying to get 200 of those suckers so we can be eligible to be certified movie reviewers on Rotten Tomatoes. And every little bit helps. So we'd appreciate it if you did that for us.
All right, everybody. Special shout out to the cast, crew, production of this show. Really appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for goofing around with us.
Chet,
Sad
chet.
to say goodbye, but chet.
Chet.